Welcome to Community Gathering. If this is your first time with us, we are just a group of people wanting to make Clifton Forge a better place. Our mission statement is up here on the slide, but it boils down to we all just want to make Clifton Forge, which we know and love, better. If you wonder who we are you, but we are also a committee that meets once or twice a month to plan these gatherings. We discuss what topics we want to approach. We talk about who we want to present those topics. So you can call us the Gang of Eight if you want to. Okay. We have a great program tonight, but first I want to talk a little bit about what we've done this past year. 2025 has been a really good year for the gathering. It's in March of next year, we will have completed 4 years of these meetings, of community gatherings. And I like to think that 2025 has been our best year yet because we've really focused on a few things and we're moving forward with a lot of purpose and direction. Now, if you go all the way back to January and February, March, we didn't meet in February, but we started this year off talking about branding. We had talked about it before, but this was a year that we actually got something done. And talking about why a clear, concise, consistent message is important for a small town, for those wanting to visit, to move here, or to bring their businesses here. Then in April and May, we talked about community pride. We really wanted to let people know all the great things we have going on here in Clifton Forge, because we wanted to make some of those things part of the discussion of branding. In May, we talked about coming attractions for the summer. We had a presentation on green pastures, and we also had a presentation on the upcoming Juneteenth celebration. If you haven't been out to green pastures lately, it's a wonderful place. I was out there a month ago when the leaves were changing. There's a flock of Canadian geese that have made the lake their temporary home. It's really a great place to go out and take a hike. In July, we came back to code enforcement. If you've been coming to these gatherings for a while, you know that we spent a lot of time the year before on code enforcement. So we brought that back to center stage, talked about that a little bit more. But we combined it with a couple of people who came to talk about the renovation successes. Garland Humphreys came and talked about commercial renovations that he's done, and Martha Atherholt came by Zoom to talk about the many home renovations that she had taken part in. In August, we had someone from the Brownfield redevelopment, what's called the BAD program, which is Brownfield, Abandoned, and Dilapidated. Because none of us want dilapidated homes in the area. None of us want these buildings on our main street that are abandoned and just filled with junk. And how do we handle that? How do we approach that? Where does the funding come from to change some of that? Then in September, we kicked off the branding. We had a big event to kick that off. Aaron Arnett came, talked about branding. Then October, we had someone talking about the strategic plan for Clifton Forge. This year, if you all don't know, Clifton Forge hired Maria Saxton, Director of Community Development, and she's been integral to this branding initiative that's been going on and also in obtaining grants for the town. Also in October, we brought the candidates for the Allegheny County Board of Supervisors here for East and West Clifton Forge, and so they could share some of their insights and what they would like to see happen for Clifton Forge. Before I introduce someone who's going to introduce the next person, I do want to say I'm so happy that Boys Home is here. I look forward to hearing what's going on out there. The Scouting America Boy Scouts are here. I am a former den mother, former day camp director out at what was then Longdale Furnace. And then when I graduated Boy Scouts, I went on to Girl Scouts and was part of that for a while. And after we hear from all of these groups, we're going to have an Eagle ceremony. I believe that's going to be the order. So I'm a mom of 2 Eagle Scouts, and it's really an exciting time for these young folks. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mott Apperholt.
You can keep talking.
And she is going to introduce the next speaker, and I'm going to fill this time while she gets up here.
Wait. Okay. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm short, so I have to pull the microphone over here. That's even better. I am a member of the Community Gathering Planning Committee. I'm the one with the unpronounceable name. My first name is Mott, like the applesauce, if that helps. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Laura Robertson Costigan. Laura, wherever you are, come on up. Laura is a native of Covington, Virginia. She got close to Clifton, boy, she just didn't quite make it here. And she was, excuse me, she graduated from Covington High School. She attended James Madison University, and after the end of her 4-year time, she received an undergraduate degree in communication studies. That led her to a job in Richmond, where she began her career in hospitality. Well, after the pandemic in 2020, she began to search for a new path with her life, which led her back to Covington, Virginia. She'd always had a passion for working with children and wanting to make a difference in this world. She was hired in the fall of 2021 to work at Boys Home of Virginia, a nonprofit organization helping underserved young men from all over the country. She works in the development department and now serves as the donor relations manager. These are Laura's words. Why? The why for me is simple. I had tremendous love and support as a child, which led to me becoming a successful adult. I believe every child deserves that same type of support. I believe in the young men we serve, and I want to cheer them along toward their success. How about a big hand clap and a warm welcome for Laura Robertson.
Awesome, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here tonight, and honestly, it's an honor to be back in my hometown. This is, I wouldn't say the path that I thought I was going down, but I think somebody else had other plans, so here I am now. They just introduced me. I want to take an opportunity. I'll pass the microphone down. If you can introduce yourself for the young men, for the Boys Home, if you could say your hometown and how long you've been at Boys Home. You don't have to say that though.
My name is Donnie Costigan. I'm Laura's husband, and I'm actually an alumnus of Boys Home. I graduated in 1995.
My name is Augie, and my hometown is Portsmouth. I've been at Boys Home for 2.5 years.
My name's Ryan. My hometown is Alet, Virginia, and I've been at Boys Home for 8 months.
My name is Terrence, and I'm from Norfolk, and I've been at Boys Home for 5 months.
All right, thank you so much. Caleb, if you could go ahead and click that next part for me. So at Boys Home, and I'm going to cover, I'm sure in the audience there's probably varying levels of knowledge about Boys Home. So I'm going to start kind of from the top. Our motto that we developed about 2 years ago is what's learned here is for life. And so at Boys Home, our young men come to us and they go to school 5 days a week, but we want to make sure we have a program that goes well beyond the classroom, that we're giving them skills that are going to make them successful later in life. And so that's one of the things I'll be talking about tonight. You can go to the next part. So our mission, it's pretty simple. We would help each young man that comes to Boys Home become a productive member of society by developing him mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially. Who we are, we've been there since 1906, so next year will be 120 years. We are a 501c3 that is 98% privately funded. We serve young men ages 6 to 17. One aspect I want to say about that is it's not just Virginia students. We take young men from all over the country. I think every young man up here is from Virginia, but we take from any state in the country. They live in a cottage with a residential life mentor. So the cottage is meant to resemble a home. The downstairs is a social area, and then bedrooms upstairs. We're in our 8th year of having our own school. They used to go to the county school, but we saw a lot of benefit in having them go to school at Boys Home. A lot of our young men might need to be caught up academically. We're able to do that at our own school, and right now have a 5-to-1 teacher to student ratio. Our athletics program, which Donnie leads, he's our director of athletics and recreation. We have soccer, basketball, and archery. We just started archery about a year ago, so we're just developing that program. The goal with archery is to actually be able to compete. Apparently there are statewide competitions that we want to get involved in. We have 2 farms with extensive farm animals, horses, a pig, goats, chickens, guineas, a variety. Every time I turn around, our farm manager adds a new animal. So it's hard for me to keep track of all the animals, but it's a great program. Teaches the young men responsibility. If you've ever cared for an animal, that comes with a lot of responsibility. We also have an on-site trades program. We actually just got a new trades instructor, Jody Eggleston, and he's doing a great job of teaching these young men basic carpentry skills. When he first got there, they landscaped the outside of the trades building, and his philosophy is to teach them these skills so that they can carry them later into life, and if they want, even make those into a career. I mean, what a great field to go into. I think that might be recession-proof, right? If you were a plumber or an electrician or did HVAC during 2020, you probably still kept your job. That's an aerial view of Boys Home. I think this is a really neat picture because you've probably never seen this view of it. And so we actually own 1,200 acres out there off of Route 60. We actively use about 5 of those. So our vision, so I spoke about the mission. Our vision is to be a community that inspires young men to positively impact those around them. And so it was mentioned that I went to JMU, and one of the things I was thinking about when I first visited JMU, that there was really this community of people that were change makers. I felt like I was surrounded by people that really wanted to be the change, not just talk about the change, but actually go out and do that. That's one of the things that attracted me to that school. And so that's something I want to do. My parents who are in the audience, if you can wave your hands. I'll give my parents a lot of credit too, because that was something that was instilled in me from a very young age. My older sister too, that as a good steward in your community, you should give back. You should positively make an impact. I think that's something we're all called to do. So one way we're doing that at Boys Home is through Key Club. And 2 of the gentlemen up here are in Key Club. Augie's not old enough, but maybe in a couple years he could be in Key Club. So in Key Club, we provide our members with opportunities to serve, build character, and develop leadership. So here's one of our meetings of the mind. I noticed Siddiqui in the pictures giving me the peace sign. And and these meetings are great. We get together about once a month and talk about what's coming up. What do we want to work on next? That's DeLeon Lee, our president, and you know, one thing I had him for this picture hold the bell and the gavel, because one thing I'm using in Key Club to do, which I'm the advisor for this year, is to run it like a real meeting. And so we start, he rings the bell with the gavel, we have an agenda, which sometimes we have to get back on task for the agenda, but it's a great opportunity. To the right, this should be a little humorous team building attempt. I had a vision of how this would work out, and so the goal was to balance the water. Actually, I think, Terrence, you're in this picture right there in the gray shirt. The idea was to balance the water as each person took off a sock. What I didn't account for was the varying heights of young men ages 14 to 17. So, unfortunately, what I thought was going to be a really great team building activity, I think, Terrence, how long did it last? 30 seconds? A minute?
45.
45 seconds. He said 45 seconds. So it was an attempt. So a couple things we've already done this fall. Back in October, we did a blood drive at Boys Home. And so there's Orion helping to set up. Here's two of our young men, Taylor and Princeton, checking people in. So they were trained on, okay, when someone comes up, what do you ask? You know, you ask for their ID, what time is their appointment, and then here's Orion actually giving blood. And that day we collected 15 units of blood, which will save up to 45 lives. And we actually had 3 students who were first-time donors, which I think is really commended. I have a slight fear of needles, so I think it was very brave that those students stepped up and donated for the first time. We also went to, and you can go ahead and put all the pictures up, we helped at an oyster roast. That was about a month ago. We traveled down to Arrington, Virginia, and we helped sort oysters. These were roasted, so we helped roast the oysters. And then Ryan, you made this picture. There was also some team bonding, I think, that happened too. And one of the rewards was, it wasn't all you could eat oyster event. We did get to eat the oysters. And so I think some of the young men were trying them for the first time. As late as Monday of this week, we were at the Covington Christmas Mother Shop. And so we were moving things from upstairs, setting up tables. We took our picture outside of the Christmas Mother Shop, and then there's Ryan and a star. And the reason I included that picture is because, one thing I wanted to point out is, service can be fun. When you're out there doing a community project and you're out there volunteering, it was hard work. Those young men were sweating going up and down the stairs. But you can have fun too. Nobody prompted Ryan to put the star on. He took that upon himself. But serving and doing community service can be fun too. So this next part, so Donnie introduced himself. If you click on the first picture. And so I always get a little bit emotional when I talk about Donnie. But so he came to Boys Home when he was 9. And I'll have him talk a little bit about kind of what led him to Boys Home. But that's the first week he was there. They took his picture. Fast forward to 1993. So Donnie's a basketball star. I would argue he still has it. He would happily play those young men up there, Terrence and Ryan. He's actually holds the record for our second all-time leading scorer. So in the picture, he is getting his 1,000-point ball. He goes on to score 1,687 points is the record he still holds. And then I know this story so well because I married this man last year. And so now I'm going to ask Donnie a couple questions. And one of the things I wanted to point out whenever I go talk about Boys Home is, anytime you hear about a program, there's probably a level of skepticism. I mean, raise your hand if you've ever been skeptic about something. You've heard about a program and you've thought, is it actually effective? What they're doing there, does it work? And then what happens, a common question is, what happens to these young men after they leave? And so one of the examples I use is Donnie's story. It's a great story, and he's not the only one with a story similar to this. And so I just wanted to kind of give a great example in that previous slide. So Donnie goes on to graduate from Allegheny High School. His parents have an 8th grade education, and so he graduated from high school, goes on to play basketball in college, and graduates from college, the first person in his family to ever graduate from college. He's been back working at Boys Home for 22 years in various roles. Now serves as the Director of Athletics and Recreation. So what a great testimony to, a young man who came there at 9 from a difficult situation that really made something of himself because of the program. So, Donnie, my first question is, what led you to Boys Home? How did you get to Boys Home?
I came to Boys Home, had a lot of struggles at home. My parents got divorced, and there was a lot of inconsistencies. I was falling behind in my grades. I was getting in trouble at school, and I was running away from home. I ended up getting a social worker, and my social worker actually found Boys Home, and that's when I ended up going to Boys Home.
Okay, thank you. And then one of the things I think that's a really great question for every young man that's completed our program is, what are the biggest lessons that they learned while they were at Boys Home?
I think giving respect, giving respect earns respect. Working hard, giving back to your community, just really working hard and work ethic. I learned that from Boys Home. I think that's some of the big things.
Okay, and then my last question, you've got 3 young men up here. What advice would you give to the current students?
These guys right here beside me, I would say just take advantage of what Boys Home's offering you. Programs that they're giving y'all, like grow and work on your grades. Guys, people are there to help you and to love you and care for you, and that place is there to help you. So I would say just take advantage of everything that you can while you're there, and it's a fun place to be if you make it. So.
Thank you, Donnie. Okay, so now I came up, this was actually a pretty fun assignment for me, for a question for some of our current students, and I'm just going to ask a couple. I will leave time. I think this is one of the last slides at the end if you have any questions for me or anybody up here. So I'm going to start, if you could pass this to Terrence. I actually asked him this question earlier this week. Okay, and I think I could project from here. Can everybody hear me at this level? Okay. So Terrence, if you could be executive director for one day, you're in the corner office, what's the first rule you're getting rid of?
The marriage.
Okay, explain, what?
A rule?
A first rule. So explain to them what is it, what are demerits?
Demerits is like work hours. Like you do community service, like for community. See, so you did bad or anything, and now you gotta work for the community. That's what it is.
But I think you're leaving out a key bit. How do you earn a demerit? You left that part out.
Not following the rules, being disrespectful to peers, the people in front of you, following other people that's doing bad things, that's doing good things, being a followers.
Okay. So no demerits.
No demerit.
Okay. Pass it to Ryan. All right, Ryan, my question for you. What is something you've learned about yourself? You said you've been here 8 months. What is something you've learned about yourself during your time at Boys Home?
you can like try to do things that you're not really used to doing, like basketball and stuff.
So you're talking about getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Okay. Pass it to Augie. Okay, I actually asked Augie this question at lunch today. Augie, tonight at 9 o'clock, you get a superpower. What's it gonna be and why?
Invisibility, so I can sneak off campus.
Oh, and where are you sneaking to?
Walmart.
Okay, pass it back to Ryan. Actually, pass it back to Terrence for me. Terrence, my question would be, what's a challenge you've had at Boys Home that you feel like you've overcome?
Being with the wrong crowd.
Okay. And what made you realize you probably needed to pick a different crowd?
The things I saw that they was doing, and I thought it was funny, so I sat back and watched them. And how much trouble they was getting in.
They got a lot of demerits?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to Ryan for a second. Okay, so I actually, for Key Club, which 2 of my guys are in Key Club, I told them at the end of the semester, the top 3 students with the most hours can pie me in the face, or they can get $100. So Ryan actually asked me today how many hours he had, and I asked him, I said, Ryan, if you're in the top 3 at the end of semester, are you going to choose to pie me in the face or $100? And what's your answer?
$100.
I don't want, great, one less pie in my face. All right, this will be the last question. I'll leave some time. Augie, you're working on your Christmas wish list. What's the top thing on your list?
A Nerf gun.
A Nerf gun. And what's your intention with this Nerf gun? What are you going to use it for?
Hitting birds.
Oh. Well, I mean. All right. Okay. Well, that's a heck of a note to end on, but that wasn't planned. It might redirect some of his Nerf gun action. If you can go over to that next slide. So my information is up on the screen if you want to take a picture. I also have some business cards with me as well. One thing I always tell people is please come visit Boys Home. I don't know when is the last time you've been there, but it's changed significantly over, I would say, the last 5 years. We've added a couple new buildings. And it changes. But come up and have a meal with the young men. I can give you a tour. It's a wonderful place to visit. And then I did want to leave a little time for questions. And they can be for me or they can be for any of the young or older men. Middle-aged men on the stage.
Laura, hi, I'm Jenny, and I worked with the boys on the 4th of July. We had them as readers up here on the stage last year, and I want to say how great it was to have them to be a part of our local 4th of July celebration. And we're looking forward to using them again this year for our 250th anniversary.
Awesome, thank you.
How many students are there?
Yeah, so that's a hard question to ask because that number is forever changing. Our capacity is 60. We definitely have an opportunity right now in admissions for new students, but that number is always fluctuating because as it's a funnel, as students are coming in, students are leaving. Like we have a student graduating in December, we have 5 more that will graduate in May. So our hope right now is we're actively looking for young men who need Boys Home. We know that there's a need out there. What we're trying to figure out are where are those young men who need our program.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, yes, Karen?
You might want to tell them about if the boys want to stay and go to Mountain Gateway, there's a place for them to live.
Yeah, so, yes, and so we do have alumni housing, and so when they turn 18, we're not giving them the boot. They can stay and actually live there until they're 21. The stipulation with that is they're either working full-time or they're going to school. So a great chance to take advantage of Mountain Gateway and get started before they transfer to a school or to do a 2-year program. Any more questions? Yes.
So, I'm on the board for Allegheny County Farm Bureau. Do you have any plans to structure or expand your ag and farm operations?
Yes, and we actually just, I think it's done now, finished, we got a very generous grant to expand our fencing. And so one thing, even if you ride down Route 60, you'll see we've added a significant amount of fencing in these water troughs. I'm not exactly sure. I still need to figure out how those work. Apparently the horse can figure them out. I don't know what that says about my intelligence, but yes, I think there is, we do want to expand that. And the farm manager, I know one of her goals too, which the students have a pretty busy day, but is to make sure every student touches the farm. Because there's so much to be learned on the farm and with farm animals. Over mini-mester, which was our fall break, she did a farm to table class and was teaching them where your food really comes from, which some of them seem to be pretty surprised by that. So yes, to answer your question.
Also, they learned how, Tad showed them, my husband, but how to tap a tree and make maple syrup. They learned to make soap. What did they use? What did y'all use to make goat's milk, wasn't it?
Yes, for goat soap.
I'd like to know what the boys' favorite things are to do.
Okay. Do you also like to hear from Donnie or just the
What was the question, ma'am?
What's your favorite thing to do at the boys' home?
Actually, I like playing basketball with the students, and I also like to go hunting on our property. So,
I like to go fishing down at the creek.
I like to stay inside.
I like to sleep.
Well, and I will add what Terrence left out is, I'm pretty sure the main reason he left this part out that he came tonight is for the dessert reception. He heard there was going to be dessert, and so he's pretty excited about that. Apparently he's food motivated, I found out tonight. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I'll pass it over, but we'll be here this evening for the reception. Thank you so much for having us. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. If you do think of any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Tonight we're celebrating one of the most meaningful traditions in our area, and that's scouting. From Troop 1281, we're honored to have Amber Ray Spencer Thornton. Representing the long, proud legacy of Troop 2, Bill Parks, Kevin Persinger, Dominique Washington. And these leaders' services, past, present, and ongoing, shape generations of scouts in Clifton Forge. So, without further ado, Bill, you want to bring your troops up? I'd like to invite it to the stage. And Caleb, if you want to start there we go.
Where's Sam Hale? One of those boys took his seat. You're part of this. There you go. You're over there.
Samuel?
Where's the other Eagle Scout?
He couldn't make it.
Huh?
He couldn't make it.
So you just got one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, you never know. Good evening.
Good evening.
So good to be here. On this slideshow behind me, there's a picture of a little boy. He's in the 4th grade, he's 9 years old, he's wearing a kerchief, and he's a Cub Scout. And by the way, Sandra, I still have a crush on my den mother. And he's about to turn 10 and a half, 11, and become an Aquila, as I recall the word, which is the transition from Cub Scouting to Boy Scouting. And he was raised from the age of 5 by a single mom. And his mom wanted very much for him to be exposed to men. She wanted him to learn to do what men do. So he passed on to the Boy Scouts, and he went to his first meeting, and it was Tenderfoot night. And nobody had taught him the knots. And he flunked Tenderfoot. Imagine flunking Tenderfoot. So he cried all the way home. And his mom said, no, you're going back there. And you're going to learn from these scouters, these gentlemen, and you're going to learn to advance through the ranks. And that little boy became an Eagle Scout. And as he aged a little beyond scouting, he became a Freemason. And that little boy was me. What is the connection between scouting and the Freemasons? Well, historically, the founder of scouting is the famous Lord Baden-Powell of England, who started it in 1905 as sort of a method to provide young boys discipline and to teach them certain virtues. It was started in the United States by 5 gentlemen who happened to be Freemasons themselves. And they took Baden-Powell's plan and created American Boy Scouting. Why were the Freemasons interested in teaching boys? Well, we Freemasons love our words. We believe that education leads to virtue. The more education you have, the more virtuous you will be. And we know these days it's difficult to be virtuous. And we've lost the use of a lot of words that speak of virtue, that speak of normative conduct. And need some notes. So those 5, I'll call them friends and brothers of mine, developed what's called the Scout Law. And they wanted to use words that the boys would understand, not the big words the Freemasons use, like temperance and fortitude and prudence and justice. Temperance and fortitude and prudence and justice. So they developed the law for the boys to learn. And as you listen to the words used in that law, you'll see the importance of teaching the boys in language that they could understand. And the Boy Scout, I think I lost it, the Boy Scout oath, I did. The Boy Scout law, rather, states that a Boy Scout is trustworthy. That goes with prudence. Loyal. Helpful. He wants to be of service. Freemasons believe in public service, community service, and there'll be more about that later. You'll see, and I think Dominic will address that. Friendly. Freemasons talk of friendship, morality, and brotherly love. Friendship is extremely important to us. As a matter of fact, they keep track of the number of friends you have, and when they started doing this several years ago, everybody in America had about 5 friends. Through the things we've been through in the past, the average American is now down to 1/2 of a friend. Imagine that. But Boy Scouts are friendly, and that's a good thing. Courteous. They know how to behave around people. They know how to behave without being offensive. Kind. Kindness is extremely important. When Freemasons close their meetings, we are told that every human being has a claim to our kind offices and to be kind to all. That is a strict injunction. And it actually goes beyond the golden rule if you think about it. Obedient. Scouts are taught to learn who's in charge, who has the goods on them, who knows what they're doing, who has the expertise. And as they gain their own expertise, they can call on other people to be obedient to them as they become more skilled as they approach adulthood. Cheerful. Cheerful is something else kind of missing today. And it's a great thing that these young boys have personal contact. They actually meet together in person. They don't have their head stuck in the phone. And of course, we didn't have phones when I had a crush on my grandmother. Scouts are thrifty. That's also a good thing. They know how to take care of their resources. Brave. Remember, one of the cardinal virtues of Freemasons is fortitude. That's bravery. And bravery is one of the words that there are actually people who study this. They get newspapers and books every year and gather them up, and they look for the usage of words. And over the last 50 years, the word brave, fortitude, courageous, but the word brave itself has almost disappeared from the vocabulary of Americans. So these young boys are learning to be brave, to stand up, to not be afraid, to follow their principles. Clean, that's a good idea too. And reverent. They are taught to honor and pray to their concept of a supreme being. So there are several things in the Scout law that keep alive principles of virtue, kindness, friendliness, and so forth. And that's what we're here for. Scouting has come a long way. When I was a Scout, we got to do a lot of outdoor stuff, and they still do outdoor stuff. But the variety of things we did to become Eagle Scouts, took 21 merit badges, things like swimming, rowing, but things like stamp collecting. I learned a lot of geography from stamp collecting, coin collecting. Another one that I think is extremely important, and I've made myself available to Dominique, and he hasn't taken advantage of it, is citizenship in the home, citizenship in the community, and citizenship in the nation. Citizenship is something that, again, is almost forgotten among many of our fellow Americans. So on we go, and we have several speakers here tonight, and I'd ask Todd Tyler to stand up along with Kevin Persinger. Both of these gentlemen have served as scoutmasters in the community. Could you give them a round of applause, please? Don't sit down, Kevin, it's your turn.
Hey, and Miss Leanne.
Come on up, Kevin, it's your turn.
Can you all hear me? Yes. That's a sad thing. I'm going to talk a little bit about Troop 2. Troop 2 is perhaps one of the oldest troops continuously chartered in America, and certainly in the state. Troop 2 was Troop 1 until the mid-1950s, I think. We missed our charter by something like 34 days, lost the 1, became 2. But it's been continuously chartered by the Clifton Forest Presbyterian Church since its onset. Me personally, I had a long career in the financial services industry. I've been on many boards, committees, task forces. In many of those, I've been in a leadership position. I'm successfully navigating leadership positions in my church. The list goes on, but I can tell you one thing for sure that I've known since I was 11 years old. I could not have done a single one of them without Troop 2 and Boy Scouts in my life. I joined the troop in 1970 as an 11-year-old. I became an Eagle Scout 2 weeks before my 16th birthday in 1975. When I was 22, I became a Scoutmaster. The committee approached me and asked me to do it. I couldn't say no. And up until then, I don't think I had ever seen a Scoutmaster under the age of 30 or 40. So it was all new to me. We were lucky. I had a pretty good idea of what I was doing, but I had some good training. The troop itself has always had strong adult leadership, some of whom are here tonight. It's always had a strong committee. So with those things in mind, the troop has been successful for almost 100 years. And I've got some displays out there for you all to take a look at. One of them is a 100th year anniversary photograph at the church. My success is directly attributed to the skills I learned in the troop. It taught me public speaking. And now, you guys can be the judge of whether it taught me well or not, but it taught me public speaking. I saved 2 lives on 2 separate occasions through skills I learned in Scouting. I was a Scoutmaster from 1981 to 1984, and then I got a chance to be a leader again when my son went into the troop, and I was a leader again from 2010 through 2016. My son became an Eagle Scout about 2 weeks before his 16th birthday. Like I said, we've had many strong leaders. We've had many young people go through our ranks. I don't know how many of you remember a doctor named Walter Vermilia, but he was a driving force in the area, and he was one of Troop 2's first Eagle Scouts. What did Scouting teach us? Well, it taught me to solve problems. It taught me life skills. It taught me many things that I use every day in my life. It taught me independence, but it also taught me teamwork. When I was in Scouts, and this is still true today, there was a large focus on Native American culture and history. We learned a lot about Native Americans, how they survived, and some of the skills that they used. We did these on camping trips. We had a lot of camping trips, a lot of hikes, a lot of outdoor activities. Now, in the 70s, when I first came into this troop, the focus was more on outdoor activities, how to navigate yourself at night using the stars, how to get from point A to point B, how to stalk someone and not have them know it. Now, that sounds a little ominous, but the whole point of it was the Native American part of it too. How to camp, how to cook a cheeseburger on a Saturday night over an open fire when it's raining cats and dogs, okay? Things like that that we were able to use in our daily lives. Again, these are traits that we pass on to kids from our experiences, and it's still going on today. I can't tell you the number of camping trips we went on, the number of times me as an adult leader extended a hike by 2 hours because I was trying to figure out where we were and how to get back to where we should be. It always seemed to work out. But we all had fun. We learned a lot of things, but mostly, as Mr. Parks said before, we learned how to deal with each other on a face-to-face method. And I think a lot of that's missing today. That's one of the important things that Scouting brings into the community is interaction among youth. And we had a really good time doing it. And like I said, I've got some displays out there, so feel free to take a look at those. One of them is a 1929 handbook. One of them is a red beret. Yeah, we had a point in time where Scouts were wearing red berets, and fortunately that didn't last very long. But some of us did look good, and some of us didn't. But in any case, we had fun with it all, and I admire anybody who becomes a leader in Scouting and gives of their time Some of these folks sitting out amongst you have done it far, far longer than I ever had. And they've been very successful at it. Some of them don't show any signs of ever giving up or quitting. And that's a benefit to your community. Can I answer anybody's questions? Then I must have done a good job on public speaking. All right, I'll now turn it over to our current leader for Troop 2. Oh, go ahead.
Next, we're going to hear from the ladies in the crowd, Ms. Sam Hale. But before you come up, when I got my Eagle Scout award, my mother was so proud that she removed the sterling silver eagle from my badge and put it on her charm bracelet. I didn't get it back until 2001 when she passed away at the age of 90. And so I got it back. Another thing that Kevin got a big kick out of, my Eagle Scout certificate, and these are signed by the President of the United States. I don't know if the present one does it, but does he? Does the President still sign these things?
Not sure.
You could take a look. But anyway, the President of the United States was the honorary chairman of the Boy Scouts of America year after year after year. And mine is dated November 18, 1963. If you think about it, that was 5 days before President Kennedy was assassinated. So there's a little history there. Okay, now Sam, let's hear from the ladies.
Can I get my girls to come up here, please? Hi, everybody. My name is Sam. I'm one of the co-leaders for Girl Scout Troop 1281. And first I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you a little bit about Girl Scouting, and then we're going to have our girls share about some of their adventures and introduce themselves. So welcome to the story of Girl Scouts. We're pleased to share with you today. Girl Scouts has enjoyed a long history of service, skill building, and friendship in our country. Allegheny Troop 1281 is one of the latest chapters in Scouting's wonderful history. Girl Scouts was founded in 1912 by Juliet Gordon Lowe, who started the first troop out of Savannah, Georgia, with 18 girls. The first programs and badges were aimed at outdoor skills, but early activities branched out and taught other life skills, like first aid and business, which was a unique opportunity for girls during this time. Among those was the cookie program that we all know and love, which, by the way, is starting December 1st, so you know where to find us. And did you know that the originally Girl Scouts made their own cookies to sell? Today's Girl Scouts are tomorrow's business owners, entrepreneurs, managers. The possibilities abound. Since then, Girl Scouts has grown into a wonderful society of friendship and leadership across the country. They've added so many more programs, camps, badges, and experiences for our girls that enrich their lives and shape them into tomorrow's thinkers. One of the most special opportunities for our girls is the chance to earn highest awards: bronze for juniors in 4th and 5th grade, silver for cadets in 5th through 8th grades, and the top gold award for ambassadors and seniors in 9th through 12th grades. For these awards, girls must complete training calls and select a project on a problem or need they have noticed in their community. From there, the girls complete service hours at increasing levels for each award, discuss the problem with community experts, and select a final project that shows a sustainable solution for a problem or a need. It also requires girls to complete a journey, which is the act of earning several badges in succession. It takes diligence, courage, and dedication to earn these awards, which must be approved by council pending review of documented work and service hours. Some of our girls have completed the bronze award and are working toward their silver. And now we're going to introduce our girls and have them tell you about the adventures they've had in Girl Scouts. But first, we're going to start with our promise-in-law. I forgot to say that. my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. Now we're going to do our Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Okay, so we're going to have our girls share about their monkeys now.
Who's going first? You're shy.
Well, you go first.
You wanna go first? Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
My name is Leah Miller, and I'm going to be talking about care packages. When we make care packages, we make people happy, and it shows we care about them. We sent it to Japan and Tel Aviv. Some of my family members were in the military, so I like to talk about this. May we all live with our veterans.
My name is Stella Miller, and I will be talking about birdhouses and bird feeders. So, we made the birdhouses, but we didn't make the wood. The wood was already in there, but we put them together, and then we painted them, we put stickers on them. We took them home and hang them on their tree. And with the bird feeders, we took some bread, we put something on the bread, and then we put Cheerios on it, and then we hang it in the tree. And now I will be talking about how we learned to make sock monkeys. So we used the sock, and we made sock monkeys, and we sewed them together. Mine was orange and purple, and it had purple butterfly eyes, and its name was Mrs. Monkey.
My name is Heidi, and I am a junior with Troop 1281. I will tell you about one of my favorite activities, helping animals in our country. We made toys and gathered supplies for animals in need at the animal shelter. We made catnip toys out of fabric and catnip for cats at the shelter. We made dog pull toys for the dogs at the shelter. We also got animals used to people by visiting pets at the Greenbrier Humane Society. We played with the puppies and kittens to get them used to people. What I learned was that everyone needs a little love. I loved showing Troop 1281 how I hold kittens so we and the kittens feel secure. Another one of my favorite activities was something we have done the past two fall seasons. 2 special days at Dalford State Park for Girl Scouts love state parks. The first year we used special tools like magnifying glasses and bug catchers to find different types of bugs. I learned that there are many exciting types of bugs. The second year we learned a survival skill. We made paracord survival bracelets. We learned how they can be helpful to survival, and we learned how different owls sound. I also saw a small bat. I learned about survival. I loved hearing the owls. They sing such a sweet and haunting tune.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne. Last year we went to a nursing home and we sung with the residents. And them residents really like it because they used to have kids. But they have grown up and we have nice hearts, so we go caroling with them. Don't get me wrong, they are sure fun to play with and talk to, but it makes you feel really, really good about yourself and you have a smile on the resident's face. Then we also donated Girl Scout cookies and pop to them because they are in a nursing home, so that means that they can not just go get in the car and go to Walmart. They just can't, so we decided to bring cookies and pop to them, and they enjoy it so much, and they also don't have a whole bunch of money either, so they can't go to the vending machine, but they can get free cookies and pop from us.
Does anybody have any questions for our troop? Oh, yes? When December 1st, and we have a new one.
New one.
Explore Mars. They're pretty special.
Inspired by Rocky Road ice cream. Anybody else have anything to add?
We also made another activity. We made pillows in the shape of hearts, and we give them to grown-ups diagnosed with cancer. And because we figured out that one of our co-workers were diagnosed with cancer, so we made them and she brought them to her appointment.
Thank you very much, girls. And almost last, I think, and certainly not least, we have the current Scoutmaster of Troop 2, the Honorable Dominique Washington.
Hey, we appreciate you all coming out. I'm very thankful to be a part of Scouting. It was indeed run by some great leaders. And sitting here, I think it's about 30 years of scouting in here, right? Something about like that, right? So when I came into scouting, I had some legendary stories about Mrs. Tyler over there and her Dutch oven skills. In scouting, a lot of wonderful meals are prepared in the Dutch oven by the on the campfire with some hot coals. And Mr. Mack and Miss Tyler could assure you that there's a certain ratio to the coals and the temperature outside. So yeah, but scouting is a very big deal. It gives the kids not only something to do, but it really intertwines the playing and fun stuff with learning and becoming responsible and accountable. And you cannot get that anywhere else that I've seen except for in Boy Scouts. I like to share this thing that I had found online one time. It said for every 100 scouts, 45 will serve in the military, 17 will become adult leaders, 1 will save a life, and 2 will save their own lives. It said that 65% seek higher education or are higher education graduates, 89% are senior class presidents, 80% junior class presidents, 85% student council, 71% football captains, 64% basketball captains, 58% of West Point grads were Boy Scouts. So it's a program that is not only instrumental in kids' development, but it is a place where, as Mr. Persinger said here, it sets you up for life, and if you continue in those skills, it paves the way for you. Also, there's benefits to finishing a scouting career. In the military, there's an advancement for people who finish Boy Scouts with their Eagle Scout. I believe they finish boot camp 2 ranks above everyone else that attended regular boot camp with them by having their Eagle Scout. I was told that colleges often put Eagle applications to the side for a second review and further inquiry. Also today, we have the pleasure of having with us our latest Eagle Scout, which is James Hillmanthaler Quantz. Could you stand up for me, James? Now we're super cool. He spoke on the Scout law, but when the Scout oath opens up, it opens up as in, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country." And I don't think we could ask much more of an individual than to do their duty to God and their country. So, with further ado, would you like to do the, sir? And we're very fortunate, as Mr. Parks explained, that the Eagle Scout and the Masons have shared a partnership and a brotherhood for a long time. And on behalf of that, they honor the Eagle Scouts. And you guys are all going to be a part of that today. Thank you.
Give him a round of applause. He does remarkable things with these boys, and one of the things in these pictures, you see those boxes, flower boxes, planting boxes. A bunch of the boys and a bunch of the Freemasons got together and spent a very full day putting those things together, and that's an example of the cooperation and as well as the dedication to service of both organizations. Come on over here, James. The Grand Lodge of Virginia is the governing body of Freemasons in Virginia. And the Grand Lodge of Virginia has a great deal of respect for those who attain the rank of Eagle. And as Dominic has said, they're extraordinary young men. And with this award comes a letter from the Grand Master of Masons in Virginia, who says, "Dear James, I have been informed that you have completed the necessary work and passed the necessary tests to attain the rank of Eagle Scout. This is a worthwhile achievement. As the Grand Master of Masons in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I wish to extend to you my sincere congratulations. The lessons learned in scouting and the persistence and diligence necessary to get there are among the valuable lessons which all of us must learn if we are to be good citizens." I'm a grammarian and I have to correct the grammar in this letter, I'm sorry. The Grand Master was a fireman, he can't help it. Although not a scout, the father of our nation, George Washington, practiced these principles, which you are now learning. It would have been difficult for George Washington to be a Boy Scout since it started in 1910. But George Washington was a Freemason, so we carry on. Wherever loyal and true citizens are found, you will find a belief in and the exercise of these principles, all based on the worship of God and a belief in the brotherhood and dignity of man. With this letter, I am sending you a certificate as a reminder of this significant event in your life, and also as a reminder that the Masonic fraternity is interested that you should grow into the kind of loyal and patriotic citizen which will preserve these ideals for ourselves and transmit them to those who follow us. And this is a certificate of recognition to all to whom these presents come. Greetings. Be it known that the most worshipful Grand Lodge of ancient, free, and accepted Masons of the Commonwealth of Virginia does hereby recognize the achievement of James Hillmanthaler Quantz in showing the proficiency required to earn the rank of Eagle Scout, and that's signed by the Grand Master and attested by the Grand Secretary. So congratulations, James. Would you like to say a few words?
I would just like to thank everyone that helped me on this journey. It was long, definitely not easy, and I'm just glad I made it.
All right, in conclusion, it's now Scouting America. The girls and the boys are together. And I was a counselor for 2 or 3 seasons in high school at a scout camp in New Hampshire called Adams Pond Scout Camp. And right across the pond was a girls' camp. And it seemed that the efforts of the adult scouters were often devoted to keeping us apart. But we knew where to hide the canoe. Does anybody have any questions? Well, we're very delighted that the Scouts and the Freemasons in this community have gotten together to hopefully enhance the community what little we're able to, and to carry on the progress of this wonderful little town that's been made in the past few years, including the restoration of this theater. And we thank the theater people for giving us the opportunity to honor this young man and these young ladies. Thank you very much. And I think now you go downstairs for refreshments. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Here comes the game mother.
If you've ever seen me in a Boy Scout uniform, you would not have a crush on me. We want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. To all the young people in the room, whether you're Scouts, whether you're with Boys Home, we are so very proud of you. And to the adults who work with the young folks in this room, we are so thankful for you. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes a lot, and we are glad you're here. We will not meet in December. As I said, this is the last gathering for 2025. We will meet again next year. We're looking forward to maybe revealing our brand that we've been working on for a while. And also then in March, we're going to be talking about the underground. Not we're going to eat cake in a minute, but the true underground that was formed when the streets were raised in Clifton Forge. So there's a lot of history that we're going to talk about then. I want to thank Virginia Review and the Allegheny Journal for always being here. It has been great. We love it that you come, that you get this presentation out to the people who cannot come. Thank you. And I also want to thank, go ahead. And although we did not invite Chuck Unruh to come do his update, we want to thank him because he does it every other month that we are here. So thank you, Chuck. And now, I think someone from Boys Home mentioned there's cake downstairs. So if you go down, we have cake and some desserts and some drinks.
What's your favorite dessert? Yeah.